All right, so we have what I think are the two coolest mirrorless cameras out here, the Fuji X-T1 and the Olympus E-M1.
Yeah.
And we've been working with them, and frankly, none of us are picking up. Jesus, this thing seems heavy.
That seems so big now.
Yeah, look how silly this, we love this Mark III, and none of us are picking it up. Well, unless we have a job. But anytime when we're doing what most photographers do, which is like travel photography, pictures of the kids and
casual
stuff
shooting.
like that.
We bring it out to dinner with us.
Yeah, I feel like a total jerk carrying that thing around. Like, don't you feel like a tourist with this?
Well, I'm partial to this Olympus. We took it on vacation with us, and you've got the new Fuji film with you.
I love this Fuji because dials.
I do like the
Buttons and
dials.
dials.
But I want to see which one performs the best. I think we should take a little field trip and just carry them around with us and see which one we like better. So which lenses are we going to bring?
We're going to keep it down to the kit lens and a cheap portrait lens, which runs you $350, $400.
Okay.
So those are pretty comparable for this one. The portrait lens is going to be the 60 millimeter. It ends up being like an 85 millimeter f3.6. And then for this one, it's the 45 millimeter.
All right. So let's pack up our gear and then we'll hit the road.
And so I just have to get this strap on the Fuji, but this is really complicated.
Oh, there's hardware.
Yeah, step one, open a strap clip. Okay, keep the tool in a safe place. You will need it to open the strap clips. I'm going to
You are going to lose that immediately. Is that right?
Oh, I think I put the protective cover on backwards.
Yeah, you did. How could you have known based on these instructions?
Ta-da! So now just put this someplace safe.
Guys, we should get some lunch. I'm starving.
Yeah, let's head over to the Black Sheep in Niantic.
All right. The autofocus on this thing is so fussy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to change the stupid focusing point. I set it up so that these buttons would allow me to change the focusing point. I can't figure it out. Why is it not doing anything?
I don't know. Is that the one with the really difficult to push buttons too?
Yes, these buttons, look at them. They're terrible.
I know.
Oh, you know what? It's the stupid face detection thing. If you have face detection on, you can't change the focusing point. So,
Oh.
Okay, Q.
So you have to go into the menu again?
Yeah, so that means face detection is on, and then I have to turn face detection off. And now, okay, now I can select a focusing point. So that's about where your eye will be. I just want to take a picture of you. Oh, but you can't move.
Oh, I can't move?
Because if you move, then you'll fall out of focus.
You're going to be jealous. You want to see what I can do with mine?
Yeah.
I can focus and take a picture at the same time by just pressing the touch screen. And I just took a picture of Justin. Bam, took a picture.
You can focus that way too?
Yeah, it automatically focuses and takes the picture just by touching the back of the screen. So it's really awesome. Look, I'll get Justin back in and it focuses and takes the picture at the same time.
I don't have a touch screen.
Well, sorry, that
I
sounds
have
lame.
a tilty thing.
I think I do too.
Yeah, you do.
I have a tilty thing.
I wish I had a touch screen. I might as well just manually focus it. Why is the manual focus not working?
I'm taking pictures of you looking frustrated. They're coming out pretty good.
See, it's got like an electronic manual focus thing, so the lens tells the camera that I'm turning the manual focus thing, and then the camera has to tell the lens to refocus. And right now it's doing nothing, like watch. I'm trying to refocus. Oh wait, it works. It's working when I have this on, but when I put my eye up to it,
That looks tedious. I do.
oh, you know what I'm doing wrong?
What?
It won't manual focus when I have the shutter button pushed halfway. As soon as I let go of the shutter button, then I can manually, look, I'll get the orange kind of in focus.
Oh, so you have to keep your finger.
And then if I put my finger on the shutter button, it ignores my manual focusing instructions.
Okay.
It just ignores it. Why would it not want me to manual focus when I have the finger on the button?
It does have that nice level, though.
I like the level. This Fuji is such a pain.
I
It just
like
doesn't
mine.
do what you expect.
Mine's good.
That one's just, like, it's more refined, I think.
Does yours do cool filters and stuff?
Yeah.
Does yours have Wi-Fi?
It does. Mine even has film simulation, so you can make it simulate Velvia film.
Why would I want that?
I don't know. Nobody
Does
wants
yours
that.
have an HDR button?
No, and in fact, I'm not sure that it has HDR at all. Look, I have a bracketing dial here. See, I can go to bracket right here on the dial.
Oh yeah, it's bracketing.
It doesn't fire all of them at once.
No, it doesn't fire all of them at once, which then it makes it difficult.
The bracketing on mine, you can only do plus or minus one stop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and only 3 shots. So like most cameras, you can do 5 shots, you can do plus or minus 2 stops, plus or minus 5 stops. Plus or minus 1 stop really isn't enough for HDR. You're just adding in extra 2 stops of dynamic range.
What just happened? That just took an HDR picture?
Oh yeah, you had it in HDR mode.
So this is HDR off, and you have HDR 1, 2, and then 3 exposures at plus or minus 2, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to try one of these preset ones, HDR1, and click OK here. Let's see what happens. I like to just take a picture by pressing the screen. That's pretty cool. So you can only do
Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2/3, or plus or minus 1/3. But why would you even bracket at 1/3 of a stop?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. I need like plus or minus 4 stops, plus or minus 5 stops. I need
So you-
5-stop bracketing, not just 3-stop bracketing.
Yeah. So you'd have to do it all manually if you wanted to do HDR.
Yeah, they're trying to be a pro camera, but pros need to really bracket stuff. Do some testing in New London?
Yeah, let's take it into town.
Okay. So here we are in downtown New London. We just want to see about taking headshots. So you always need to be able to take a portrait, right? So we got these cheapo portrait lenses. Well, set like a $400 budget, but they both will make workable headshots. So we basically want to do aperture priority. It's really cold today. You can see Chelsea
Can't
shivering.
feel my hands.
That means I'm just going to set the aperture on the lens here on this camera, and for you, you'll have to put your camera into aperture priority and then like move your main down. Okay, you got it, and it's wide open. And then for me, I'm just going to set the shutter to automatic and the ISO to automatic, and then I can use exposure compensation. So now the challenge for me is going to be focusing on a single point in the eye. So I'm putting it in single focus, and then I have to turn it off and then back on to wake it back up. Okay, all right. So I'll set the focus point there, and then I'll take a picture. Charles,
Is the shutter speed high?
because you're shivering so much? Single focus worked, but barely, and continuous focusing was awful. Check that out, Justin. I have it in continuous focusing mode, and I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah, I can.
look, it's just constantly moving focus in and out. Continuous focusing is useless. Yeah. I'll go back to single focus. Chelsea, look up. At least with single focus, it does eventually lock in focus. Chelsea, why don't you take some pictures of me with that thing?
Okay.
I'll do my best Chelsea cold impression.
You look like you ate a lemon.
How's the focusing on that?
It was good.
It worked?
Yeah.
Because my focusing was appalling.
I think let me go back. Let me check out what happened. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're in focus. Whoa. You do some really unflattering impressions of me. Okay. Well, mine worked.
Well, let me try this other lens. Maybe that lens is just bad. Definitely the kit lens works better than that 60mm macro. I like the bokeh in the 60mm, but the focusing is terrible.
All right, we're gonna go to an antique shop and
Do some low light.
yeah, low light photography inside. Let's go.
It's so cold, my skin is giving up.
You look cool. Look at the creepy little fox. Help me! We have some really good, look, here, Cat Stevens, the Rolling Stones.
I keep getting, the red AF thing, which means it couldn't focus properly. It's a little dim in here, but the contrast-based focusing just isn't working very well in low light. So this 70D, like, look how fast it pops into focus, and that's with the live view focusing. It's out of focus, it's in focus, just like that. Look what it's doing with the dog. Why is it blinking like that? There's no good reason for that. Then it thinks it's in focus, but it's not. There, now it's in focus. Okay, I'm going to test out the image stabilization on the two cameras by just going slower and slower, and we'll see how slow I can go. I just have this like right in the middle of the focal length range. Oh, not in focus, not in focus. Come on. Nope, no focus. Oh, let's see if I can get this thing to, okay, focus. I was able to get 1 out of 10 clear shots at 1/4 of a second with the E-M1. At 1/8, I got about 50% clear shots. The X-T1's kit lens gave me about 50% clear shots at 1/2 of a second, breaking the reciprocal rule by about 4 stops. The X-T1's kit lens soundly beat the E-M1's in-body image stabilization. And Chelsea, I noticed you seem to focus a lot easier than I did too.
Yeah, I think
mine kept giving me errors, but yours focused right away every time.
Mine said it was focusing. Oh, I got a few in focus.
You seem sharp.
Yeah.
So now we'll do the same test with the portrait lenses. The reason is these lenses, neither one of them have image stabilization. But Chelsea here, and with the E-M1, has image stabilization in the body. So it'll stabilize any lens. With the 45mm non-stabilized portrait lens on the E-M1, I was able to get several clear shots at 1/8 of a second. Come on. Oh, the focusing on this thing. All right, we'll get to try out the manual focusing. With the X-T1's 60mm lens, I was able to get clear shots at 1/15 of a second. That breaks the reciprocal rule by 2 stops, even without image stabilization, because I guess I'm just good at hand-holding. So Chelsea's image stabilization works with any lens, but I noticed it took her a lot longer to change the settings. With me, it's so nice that the shutter speed is always right on this dial. I can just instantly change it like that, and there's no worrying about whether it's the front dial or the back dial or which mode I'm in. Want to change the shutter speed, just move that right there. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll head out.
Thank you. The light, so nice.
So here I can just change the aperture real quick by turning it on the dial. I have the ISO on auto, so it'll adjust automatically. Oh, but it's stuck at ISO 6400, so it's not doing the trick. I guess I can turn it again. Well, if I had image stabilization in the lens, I could go a lot lower. I swear, every time I try to record a video, I miss the record button like 4 times. It's just kind of recessed and hard to push. I hate the Fuji. The more I use it, the more I hate it.
I love this camera.
This most basic doesn't work right. Like, you just try to focus it and it doesn't work. You try to focus when you're recording and it doesn't work. You can't even manually focus while you're recording. It ignores your manual focus input.
Your camera's lame. My camera was so much fun. It's so easy to take pictures of.
That 60mm lens is awful. The focusing is appalling. No image stabilization.
You hate it that much, huh?
I love the dials on the top, but some of the buttons don't work quite right.
saying you love your camera?
Yeah, I love mine. I know that Tony was having some trouble with his, but I just feel like it's focusing is pretty much spot on. Not if there's too much movement. I noticed I was trying to get a picture of a guy walking kind of perpendicular to me and I couldn't keep up with him. But I've been taking a lot of pictures of still things and it's always working well for me. I've been focusing just fine, taking pictures of you and Tony. And I've been taking pictures in monochrome. I always think that's fun. I like all the different features on it. It has some really cool filters. It's just fast and easy and light, and I haven't had any problems with it.
Yeah, the focusing on this one is way better, and I love the in-body image stabilization on that one because it stabilizes every lens you put on it. This thing, the controls on it are awesome, but I wish they would finish it. Like, it's not done yet. It feels like it's a beta product because it keeps, like, stuff just doesn't work right. You can't focus when you're recording video. You can't even manually focus when you're recording video. Wait, I'm wrong. It will focus while recording if you pick the right mode. Switching between different focusing modes is like really time consuming and slow, and the autofocus is really slow and unreliable to the point where it stops being fun to use it. You know, you like just don't even enjoy it because it's such a pain. And the manual focusing does work pretty well. The focus peaking does help you. This is like a manual camera.
Like
you don't even want to try the autofocus in this thing. You just want to. If you love manual focus, this might be the camera for you.
Yeah. I know a lot of people do. We have some
Yeah.
friends that only use manual focus.
If you're the type who uses manual focus sometimes and autofocus sometimes, you'll find the autofocus just frustrating.
The only thing I found frustrating about this camera is that I wasn't really used to finding all the settings because I am used to using Canon, but that's kind of just something I would have to get used to. They're pretty intuitive. I can always find them eventually.
But you know, that's one nice thing about this is shutter speed is always right here.
Yeah.
ISO is always right here. Exposure, aperture is always right on the lens. But with this one, like sometimes the shutter speed's on your thumb, sometimes it's on your forefinger.
I am getting
depending on what
the
mode you're in.
controls mixed up a bit. But I usually find what I need. It's been fun. I will say I wasn't that impressed by the HDR, but
It's better than bracketing on this thing, which only does one stop.
that's true. One
Three
stop
shots,
tops.
one stop. That's it. It's not even useful for bracketing. You pretty much have to manually use the exposure compensation and manually bracket it. But every camera I've had since the 80s had decent bracketing built into it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Another thing I like about this camera is that it takes really good video. Well,
Yeah.
from what I can tell, it takes good video.
The focusing in the video is really good.
I'm doing it now, Justin. You're famous. What are you doing?
I just wanted to try it out with the adapted lenses and see how it did. Just take some
You think
pictures
it
of
might be
each other.
better?
Well, I wanted to try them both out and just see how they compared. We'll try shooting a couple of just headshots wide open. Sorry, I think I have to turn on, like, shoot without a lens attached or something.
You only have one battery for the Fuji, Tony?
Yeah,
Pretty good battery life if both of these actually have lasted this whole day.
it still has all 3 bars, so.
Wow. How are you doing, Chelsea?
Has it been about 3 hours that we've been doing this?
Yeah, I think that'd be my guess.
And I have 2 bars left. I remember with the OMD, what is it, the E10? That was running out so fast. It was just running out frustratingly fast. So I think this one's a lot better.
So Chelsea, check out the dual display focusing. On the left here, it shows the full view, and then on the right, it zooms in real tight. So you can zoom in and see when you get that critical focus.
Oh, yeah.
And it works with the focus peaking too, so it's highlighting in red whatever's in focus. So I just put that over your eye and then
Let me try.
focused it until I had you in focus.
Oh, that's easy to use.
Yeah.
Every time I take a picture, you make a face. Come on, Tony, step your modeling game up. Yeah, that's nice. I like that feature.
Another feature that makes it easy to focus is they have this split prism thing. So I can roll this here. It just helps me see when I have it in focus. But it only appears in the middle, maybe because that's the way it used to be in old cameras. But you can see when it's split right now in the middle and when they line up, that means it's in focus. So with adapted lenses, this has a couple of focusing features. I can use focus peaking. You can kind of see the white areas as I roll over. Oh, I forgot I could take a picture by touching the screen. The focus peaking highlights the areas that are currently in focus. The X-T1 is definitely more flexible. It lets me select different colors. And also look how the frame rate drops. Like if I turn off focus peaking, it's nice and smooth. When I turn on focus peaking, it comes all jerky. So if you'd be using it a lot, it's annoying. They both have this magnify feature, which just zooms in on part of the frame and lets you get nice and tight. Another difference with the adapted lenses is that the X-T1 has a 1.5x crop factor and this has a 2x crop factor. So all the old lenses you love, suddenly they're pretty much going to be telephoto lenses. So I think overall for adapted lenses, if that's your goal, the X-T1, far better camera. So we couldn't find anybody in New London who was outside and moving around. So we came back to the house to test out the continuous focusing systems with Justin skateboarding on my 10-year-old daughter's skateboard. So he's gonna come at me and I'll take as many continuous shots as I can with both of the cameras and we'll see how many they get in focus.
Watch how the green car stays in focus. Both the E-M1 and X-T1 completely failed to track Justin's movement, despite double checking the settings and making many different passes. On the other hand, our Canon 70D DSLR got 75% of the shots in focus. I repeated the test with my daughter at the beach in full sunlight and got the same results. Neither camera seems to be able to track a moving person in any light. If you trust Olympus's and Fuji's marketing claims, like the world's fastest AF, you're gonna be really disappointed. If you must use them for action, use a high f-stop number to get plenty of depth of field, and maybe your focus will be close enough.
So I'm really more interested in real world results, but the Fuji here, the X-T1 has a much larger sensor, it has an APS-C size sensor. So it has a 1.5x crop factor from a full frame 35mm camera. This is a 2x crop factor. Micro Four Thirds cameras have pretty small sensors compared to the DSLRs that I'm used to. So I'm just gonna shoot this little test setup at different ISOs so I can see how the two cameras compare and just like raw sensor image quality.
To eliminate differences in JPEG processing, I imported both pictures into Photoshop using Adobe Camera Raw. Comparing ISO 200 pictures at 100%, the E-M1 on the left shows significantly more noise than the X-T1 on the right. As we zoom into 400% in the out of focus shadows, we see very distinct noise from the E-M1, but the X-T1 gives us gorgeous, silky smooth shadow areas. The image quality of the X-T1 is truly remarkable, even at high ISOs, making it the clear winner.
So we're out here 20 below freezing to test out the night photography capabilities of these two cameras. And so far on the E-M1, it seems to be working great. The live view is nice and bright, and the autofocus is working just fine on the lights on my house here. So by the light of the iPhone, I'll take a couple of pictures. I also noticed that this goes all the way up to a full 1 minute long shutter speed. So that's really nice. For both these cameras, I'm going to be shooting at single focus, single shot, and ISO 200, f8, and then I'm going to be bracketing my shot to try different exposures. So we'll wait for this to finish and then we'll try out the Fuji. The battery light on this E-M1 is blinking. The X-T1 still has 2 out of 3 bars left. This E-M1 and the E-M10, they both have terrible battery lives. We've been shooting them the same, but these Olympuses always run out of batteries. You gotta carry an extra battery with you if you're gonna be out for the day. So on with the Fuji, the LCD is nice and bright and it actually focused okay. It did miss a couple of times, but the focusing was working all right for a night shot. I'll start an 8-second exposure. Oh, that's so cool. It counts down the time on the screen. My hands are so cold I can't even push buttons anymore. This doesn't go to a full minute, it just goes to 30 seconds. But let's get inside and look at those pictures.
Looking at the raw files, I was able to recover 2.2 stops of blown out highlights from the X-T1. The E-M1 didn't have any highlights to recover. So I'll need to bracket my shots to get more dynamic range from the E-M1. The X-T1's sensor, once again, wins for its superior image quality.
So that was the hands-on comparison. Now let's kind of wrap it up and discuss our overall feelings about it. First, that X-T1. Let's talk about what we like about it.
I love that all of the dials are just readily available. It reminds me of an old film camera and it's kind of fun. You just have your ISO out there, your exposure compensation. Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, and you don't even need an LCD screen on it because you can glance down and just see that you're at ISO 200 and this shutter speed and that's your exposure compensation. It's all just visual and physical, and I thought it was wonderful. No buttons to push for changing anything.
Yeah, I liked that, and I also liked that it's still light and compact and fairly easy to use.
Yeah, light compared to a DSLR, not necessarily other mirrorless cameras, but yeah, I never would hesitate to just bring it along. It's really nice.
The image quality was fairly good too.
I thought the image quality was outstanding.
Yeah.
As I really got in with the computer and looked at each individual pixel, it was proven to be about 3 stops better than the Olympus.
Okay,
it was wonderful.
Hold on a second. We've got to rewind a little bit because now that I get to thinking about the buttons, I'm remembering that when you do have to stray from these top buttons, which are really fun and great, you have to go into the menu system, which is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Or you have to go to these back buttons here that I don't know what it is, but I would just repress them, and it wouldn't go to the right or the left or up or down. I thought it was because I have a little bit longer nails, but you had the same problem, right?
Yeah, I hated those buttons on the back, and I hated the record button too.
They're really recessed a little bit. They're kind of, if you feel it, it feels flat. They don't really jut out enough for you to comfortably press them and feel like you're pressing them. So that was one of my problems with the buttons and the menu system. I just didn't think it was very intuitive. It was difficult.
We quickly moved on to let's complain about the X-T1
well,
phase of this.
I was excited. I was excited at first, and I took a few pictures, and I liked it, and I was excited by the dials. And then when I started using it, this didn't end up being my favorite.
Yeah, and I'll jump in about the controls. The dials here are cool, but they all behave differently. I don't know. It's like 3 different people designed the dials. So like the ISO dial, if you want to turn it, you push the button and then you turn it, which is a real pain. The shutter button, or the shutter dial, you can just freely turn like that. It's nice and soft, so you can turn it with your thumb until you get to automatic. If you go to automatic, then you have to push the button with, use your whole hand.
It in. Okay.
But otherwise, you can turn it while you're looking through the viewfinder. The exposure compensation dial does not have a button, but it's so hard to turn that you can't turn it when you're taking a picture with your eye up to it. So you have to take it away from your eye and then use 2 fingers.
Well, you have to use 2 fingers like a little monkey.
Yeah, but that means you can't just make a quick adjustment while you're looking through the viewfinder. And that's the one I would move the most while I was shooting.
Yeah.
If it's a little dark, on a DSLR, you just move that dial. On the E-M1, you would just do that. It just turns really easily. So the controls are awesome. I wrote down great controls, terrible controls. I love them and I hate them.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they had a lot of great ideas, but they just didn't test them enough in someone's real hand to see how people reacted to them.
Yeah, if they sent that to me before they published it, I definitely would have had some good feedback for them.
Yeah.
Another thing, the aperture dial is on the lens, which is cool, like an old school lens, but on the kit lens, they didn't write the aperture, the f-stop number on there. So you can see your ISO, shutter speed, and exposure compensation, but if you want to see your aperture, then have to look at the LCD screen, turn it on, or pull it up to your eye.
Yeah.
Now some of the lenses have the aperture written on there, but this lens doesn't. You'd also have to check to see whether it was in automatic or manual aperture mode.
Okay.
So this makes it quick to assess your settings, but then the way they've designed the lenses makes it rather difficult, and you end up using the LCD screen anyway.
It doesn't feel quite finished to me. But I do think if someone got this camera and they got used to all of its quirks, they would really love it. Except
there's a lot of that.
One other problem I had with it.
What's that?
The focusing system.
Yeah, it's not an autofocus camera.
They say it's like the fastest autofocusing system.
The world's fastest AF.
And I would, if you have this camera and you feel like that's true, I'd really love to see it because we both tried to prove it. I tried to prove it in a more casual way, just going out and taking pictures, and I could not get it to focus on anything moving. And then you actually did some testing and you had the same results.
Yeah, and since we finished up that review, it's been about a week, and I've continued to use it just casually in my life, just trying to find what to love about it.
Yeah.
And when we had friends over, I'd pull it out to take a picture. Wouldn't focus, moment gone, then it would focus. And then I'd switch to the E-M1, and it would snap into focus on the first time under dim lighting.
I don't know how they could make a claim like that and then have us both not be able to use it. I feel like, could it be like a bad camera or something? I don't know.
No, but that's what all the YouTube comments will say. Like the people who already own the camera, they'll be like, "Mind focus is great. You must have a bad copy."
Oh, people say that.
People always say that. No matter anything negative I see, that's what they come back with.
Well, you know,
It's
maybe
not a bad copy.
Maybe people,
it's just the design of the system. It's just not a great autofocus system.
Maybe people have some pictures that could prove us wrong. And I would like people to prove us wrong, but not just say you guys are stupid in our comments. Like maybe show us your pictures or something. I'm open to hearing about it.
So this claims to have face detection, but the way they've implemented it makes it useless. I will never turn on face detection on this camera again.
Yeah, because it doesn't turn on automatically, right? You have to go back into the menu system to turn it on or off.
Yeah, you have to manually turn it off if you want to do any other kind of focusing. And I found it works like 30% of the time.
Yeah.
And then 60%, 70% of the time, it just doesn't find it. Whereas with the E-M1, face detection snaps on almost all the time. And in fact, it will find the nearest eye and focus on the eye.
It actually knows
perfect for shallow depth of field.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that
Let's go on to
in
these,
the studio,
actually.
in portrait work, it worked great. I do want to bring up manual focus on this. Awesome.
Awesome manual focus.
Good on this camera. Excellent manual focus on this. Though you can't jump into manual focus. Like you can't just turn the manual focus dial when you've been autofocusing. Like so when the autofocus fails, I'd always be like, I'll just manually focus.
And you can't.
No, you have to go and switch the dial here to manual focus.
Let me see that.
I didn't. You can go into manual focus.
I didn't try that.
It's just you should be able to manually focus it any time, especially because autofocus is failing you so much. It's also great for adapted lenses with only a 1.5x crop factor compared to the micro four thirds system, which is 2x crop factor.
Great image quality.
Great
buttons, terrible buttons.
Yeah.
Autofocusing, horrible. Great manual focusing.
Yeah, but they make it difficult to switch between the two.
This is an amazing camera for the right person. And I think that's what it's about, is that you have to get the right camera for you. So if you want a manual focus and you want something lightweight that takes great pictures and you're not picky about buttons.
It'd be an awesome landscape camera. I would definitely recommend it for landscapes.
Okay, let's do my favorites.
The E-M1 here?
Actually, you know what? I liked the cheaper model. I liked
Yeah,
the
you know, this
E-M10.
was not part of the comparison, but we've had this camera for a while. And I will push a lot of people to the E-M10. It's smaller and lighter than the E-M1. They basically have the same sensor. And the focusing system is different, but they both seem in practice to focus about the same to me. They both work great.
The E-M1 said that it had a better focusing system, but I didn't notice when I was using it, so.
You know, this has a phase detection focusing system, but it only really works with like micro four thirds, like the original, not micro four thirds, but the original 4/3 adapted lenses.
Yeah.
And so if you're using micro four thirds lenses, I don't think you'll see any difference. At least I never did in practice.
I didn't either.
In many ways, these focus better than our DSLRs. Because I love that face detect system that works when you have the camera up to your eye. It'll find the face no matter where it is in the frame and focus on it and focus on the nearest eye. And that's so much easier than having to like set your focusing point and put it over the person's eye.
But something that I noticed about this is that when I'm trying to set a focusing point, it wasn't that easy. I preferred to just tap the touch screen to take pictures when I was just casually shooting.
Yeah, it doesn't have like, our DSLRs have like a little thumbstick.
Yeah, that makes it a lot
That
easier
helps.
because
But-
you can just change while you're looking through the camera.
Yeah, but you don't need it for faces, and you have the touch screen there.
Yeah,
to set
but
the
I still
focusing point. So
really liked it.
both of
It's over
these
here.
have in-body image stabilization. I never really detected any difference between the E-M10 and the E-M1's implementation. The E-M1 has like 5-axis image stabilization, whereas this one has only 3-axis. But they both work great, and it lets you stabilize any lens, even old
Yeah, that's one
Canon
thing I liked
FD
about
lenses.
it. That was
Become
cool.
stabilized. My big 400 millimeter, which doesn't have stabilization, it's stabilized. Anything is stabilized. That's awesome. I like the grip on that one better. What do you think?
You know, it is nice that it has a little bit of a grip.
Compared to the well, either one really, but especially compared to the X-T1, it's a pretty shallow grip here. Like, show Justin the deep grip on that one.
Deep grip.
Yeah. Yeah, I just find that one just fits better in my hand. This one
It's a little
always
more comfortable.
feels like it's kind of falling out of my hand. It's something you get used to, but I definitely like the deeper grip.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, the micro four thirds image quality does not compare to the Fuji's. It's just not as good. But I think it's been good enough for us. I've been really happy with the pictures. I don't think I'd use it for professional work. I would use that for professional work, as far as the image quality goes.
Okay, so that has better image quality.
all hated the battery life on these Olympuses.
Oh, the battery life was really terrible. In
Yeah,
fact,
like it doesn't make it through a full day of shooting.
yeah, we took this camera on vacation, the E-M1, and ran out midday while I was trying to take pictures that I really wanted, so that was a drawback.
And that one has a little bit bigger battery, but it ran out right at the end of the day of our testing when I was doing the night pictures.
Yeah.
It died on me. But it actually wasn't a long day of shooting.
No, we weren't even taking a lot of pictures, so it surprised me that the battery ran out so fast. The buttons aren't as fun on this camera as the Fuji film, but they
Yeah.
were more intuitive. They ended up being easier to use, and the menu system I thought was a lot better. I picked this up and I figured out the menus right away, and I was finding all these new features and having a lot of fun. So
Yeah, this is
better
going to be
menu system.
easy for, if you're a DSLR user and you're looking for a smaller, lighter camera, either the E-M1 or the E-M10 are going to be very natural to you. The modes work exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you'll pick it up right away, no problem. They're designed like a DSLR. This one will definitely take some training. And like I said, some things I just don't think I'd ever get used to.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that. I'm curious because I think that if someone had this camera, they would get used to it and the quirks would just become a part of the experience. Kind of like when you have an old car, you kind of got to like bang the dashboard and twist something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe. I've been using it for 2 weeks now.
And
I still find it frustrating. Yeah.
You know what? I've got to be honest. I liked this so much better that I used this for like a few days and then went right back to the Olympus. I just preferred it.
You know, it's so frustrating. It's not fun. And photography should be fun.
Well,
these aren't professional
the
tools.
thing is, I'd be trying to take pictures and I'd be having all sorts of problems. And we had friends over for the weekend and I was trying to capture the moment that was important to me and I kept missing it because of either the autofocus or trying to figure out something in the menu system. And, I wanted to use the camera to get an experience for the review. And I felt like I did, but when I wanted to get pictures, I went to our DSLR or one of the Olympuses.
Yeah. So landscape people who do only manual focus, or those who are obsessed with adapting older lenses and really want the best possible result without going for a full frame camera. This, for just about everybody else.
Except for pro shooters, I would never use that for a pro shoot.
Because of the image quality?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't do sports or action wildlife with either one of these. You will not have a good time. And though this comparison wasn't about the E-M10, I'm going to recommend the E-M10 to people who are beginning photography and want something lightweight, and therefore they don't care about changing modes and stuff because it would be a little advanced. Or for people who have a big camera already and just want a camera that they can throw in their bag and carry around with them everywhere, because the small size and the lightweight really are pretty substantial advantages over the E-M1.
I think so.
The E-M1 has lots more buttons than the E-M10, and that makes a big difference. So if I had to use just one camera all the time for everything, it would be the E-M1, I think, for non-professional work.
Okay. So I think we liked a little bit from each. But
Yeah,
to us,
again,
the
I wish
winner
I
was
could
the
make a
Olympus. Yeah, you want a Frankenstein camera.
Yeah.
You might be able to.
So I know there's lots of people on YouTube who are out there and they just love the Fuji and they probably hate us at this point. Feel free to write a comment. I don't think it's a bad copy. I spent a lot of time with it. I think it's just the way it's designed. Many of these problems can be fixed with a software update, so keep your fingers crossed and maybe we'll see something better.
That's true.
In the meantime, if I've not convinced you not to buy the Fuji, then go to our store, because I think I'm just going to sell this one in our store and see if somebody wants it.
Really?
Don't you think so? Do you want it?
No.
Yeah, let's just unload it.
Well, we already have so many cameras.
Yeah.
Let's sell them all.
Hey, now. All right, so check the link and see. There's an inventory of one here, so first come, first serve.
I feel like we should do something special to it.
Like put your lipstick, like make a kiss on it or something?
I don't think that would help the situation. You could.
Okay.
I think that would increase sales. Oh my God, so sensual. Oh dear God.
This is flying off the shelf.
Oh my gosh. Already sold. To Justin. Justin.
Biggest fan.
Yeah. So that's it?
That's it. Enjoy. Add any questions in the comments below. And if you like the video, please share it with your friends. That helps to support us. Also, please use the links to do your shopping at Amazon or B&H or Adorama. That helps support us because we generally have to buy our own gear. And that gets to be expensive, so we get a small portion. Subscribe to see more free videos, and please click like down below. Also check out my photography buying guide, which has more than 250 pages of detailed information about camera gear. It'll help you understand and make educated choices so you don't waste your money. It'll help you spend every dollar efficiently, and it can save you hundreds or thousands of dollars. And if you want to learn how to actually take great pictures, what's the book called?
Nobody's listening anymore.
Stunning Digital Photography. Thanks for your help. Stunning Digital Photography has over 9 hours of videos, and it'll tell you actual photographic techniques because it's not all about gear, right? You gotta learn how to use it to take good pictures. So check out that book. Thanks so much.
Thank you.